You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Really looking forward to today's Friday review. Excited to share with you really a lot of questions that have come in from our community, from whether it's at cabralsupportgroup.com or maybe people are emailing in. But really what I want to do is I want to go through some of the popular questions today about the flu vaccination, about how to boost your immunity this winter, about what types of vitamin D you should use, and then, of course, our micronutrient of the week, one of our superhero, as I like to call them, nutrients that our body needs, and all the great research behind that. So excited to get started. Let's get right into it. So one of the big things people ask me always is, should I be getting the flu vaccine? And so essentially what has been told to us is, well, if you get the flu vaccine, that will help you to stay healthy all winter long. But, my job, I really feel my job, not necessarily as a naturopathic doctor, but really as just a health educator, is to let people know both sides of the equation. So people ask me, should I get it or should I not get it? Now, here's the thing. I like to first look at, well, does it really work? Like, that's obviously the main thing, right? Should you take a nutritional supplement? Should you do a lab test? Should you do this? Should you do that? Well, let's actually look at the science. Let's see if it works. So I just want to let you know, because the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control in the United States, will not really share this with you. You can find it, but you have to go deep onto their website. And so, of course, I did the research and I went deep into their website. And so what they showed actually from this year is they said it's not possible to know fully how well the flu vaccine is working from year to year. But on a typical year, it will work somewhere around 32% to maybe 40%. On a really good year, maybe about 50%. So that means you have at best, a 1 out of 2 chance of the flu vaccine working for you. Okay, so you have a 50-50 shot. Now, this year, they're estimating that they didn't get the correct strains right that they put in the flu vaccine. And why is that? Well, they have to base it upon last year's flu strains because there are hundreds of them, and they put in a couple. That's it, just a couple. So, for example, something like the H3N2 or any number of strains. And I don't want to get too deep into what specific strains is today because that's not really going to help you take action. Like, that doesn't give you the information you need. But, of course, you can look these strains up for yourself. Now, here's the interesting thing. When they're looking at other parts of the world that have already passed their flu-based season, they're looking at places like Australia where the flu vaccination worked for only 10% of the people. And again, 10% is also a guess. They're meaning like, well, would that person have gotten the flu, yes or no? We don't know the answer to that. But at best, we do know for the people that were vaccinated, it worked about 10% of the time. So the other thing you have to ask yourself is, okay, do I need it myself then? Should I still get it? And you have to look at, is it worth it for you to put the heavy metals in your body, such as aluminum or such as mercury, depending on what they're using as a stabilizer, and something to trigger the immune system within that vaccination? And then you have to ask yourself as well, am I too late? Because what the CDC does not tell you, and what your local, like literally pharmacy, because they're handing these out, flu vaccines out like it's candy, they don't tell you that the best time to get vaccinated for the flu is actually by the end of October. Now, that's in the United States. So that's because our flu season is happening, well, about a month or so after that. And then it goes through the winter. The problem is it takes at least 2 weeks for your body to build up the antibodies. Again, if it's going to work for you or not, because that's not guaranteed either. But if it does, it's going to take 2 weeks to build up those antibodies. So that means we're already into January. Would it be effective now to get it done? I'm not sure. Again, it's my job to present you with the education, but I'd be leaning towards the opinion of no. And the other part is this is also very, very interesting. Children age 6 months, so 6 months, I guess that would be more like almost like a baby, through 8 years old, need 2 doses of the flu vaccination. And they need to wait 28 days apart before getting their second vaccination. And again, that's something that your local pediatrician or CDC or anyone's probably not going to tell you, that you actually have to go twice for children before 8 years old. And the reason is their antibodies are not going to last as long, just like older adults as well. Now, the funny thing is that everyone who's getting the flu vaccine, for the most part, are people who have really no chance, like very, very little chance. And again, I'm just giving you the information. But anyone from, let's say, 12 years old, 10 years old, until like 75 years old, 70 years old, is not going to die from getting the flu. Again, it's possible because there are complications from the flu, such as pneumonia and other things as well. I'm not making light of the flu at all. Trust me, I'm not. And that's why I'm going to give you action steps to take, because I take it very seriously. And especially since it's running rampant in Boston right now, where I work, where I practice, and people obviously are coming in with the flu. But here's the thing. The people who need it the least are the ones getting the flu vaccination the most. And that's because the people I most worry about is more like, 75, 85 years old, where if you got the flu, it could really do damage to the body. But for the most part, and again, I see people in my practice, we can get them well even if they got the flu. But I'm going to talk about that in a moment. What I do is I just want to provide more facts to you. So first of all, we know that they're guessing on the strains. Second of all, we know that there's heavy metals in the flu vaccination. Third of all, we know that it takes at least 2 weeks for the actual antibodies to become effective against the flu vaccine. I don't even know if we're on fourth of all or not yet. Its effectiveness is somewhere between 10% and 39% this year in 2017, 2018 flu season. And one more thing is that they also said, do not bother with the nasal formula this year because the nasal formula is not working at all, really. So one more thing is they're only looking at injectable because the nasal spray is not working and the same effectiveness. Very, very interesting to me to look at all of that data. And again, this is always your choice. I want to present the information and what I would do. And it's just my opinion right now that if you're a healthy human being, for the most part, not really immunocompromised, and that's the one more point, because these things, again, I talk about this literally all day, is that if you are not well, if you're feeling sick, if you're feeling run down, it's a really bad idea to get the flu vaccine in the first place. And they tell you that. Again, I'm not giving you any information that the CDC, Center for Disease Control, you can literally go to cdc.gov and /flu and find out all this information for yourself. I literally quote things verbatim. I've done the research, and I'm just trying to provide you with both sides of the information, okay? Who it's best for, who it's not. And, so the other interesting thing that we're talking about here is whether you, as a healthy human being, should get it or not. And so, again, what I lean towards is the not if you're a healthy human being, and that's because even if you were to get the flu, and I'm going to give you kind of like an anti-flu based formula, but even if you were to get the flu, you should be able to recover as a healthy human within 3 to 5 days. Now, I know you're going to be sick, and colds and sicknesses and flus and those things sometimes do happen. But when they do, if you were to get yourself well within that 3 to 5 days, be back at work in a day or two, would that be better than putting the heavy metal in your body from the flu vaccination? Just to think about that. You just have to think about it. And your answer might be no. Your answer might be, no, I have to get it because I work in a hospital, or I have to get it because I'm a caretaker, or I have to get it for whatever reason. And if you do, I understand. I understand that. And that's why I'm not coming down on you. I'm not judging you. What I want to do is provide you with the best information possible so that you can make that decision if you're able to, okay? And whether you get the flu vaccine or not, I highly recommend doing things like increasing your vitamin C all winter long. This is one of the best times to boost vitamin C. So what I want to do is just give you some immune boosters right now. It's something that I'm doing right now. So again, all around me, people are getting sick. They have the flu. And right now, I've upped my vitamin C from 1 gram or 2 per day to now at between 4 and 5 grams per day. So that, I believe, is allowing me to keep my immune system a little bit boosted, all right? It's helping me with detoxification. It's helping my white blood cells, all of those things to fight off any type of viral-based infection. The other thing I'm doing is increasing my vitamin D. So I'm making sure that I get 5,000 IUs every single day. Not sometimes, not every other day, but every single day to keep my vitamin D levels boosted, which is going to help my immune system. And although I'm very faithful with my greens drink, my daily fruit and vegetable blend, I know that I'm getting the powerful nutrition of 22 organic fruits and vegetables. I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of speaking. And I know it's a hassle to sometimes bring it through airports. but I'm making sure that I'm bringing my daily nutritional support, my shake, and my greens powder everywhere I go. Even again, I know it's a little bit more space, but the easy to travel shake, which we did it literally for that reason, is because I want to travel with it as well. I'm taking that every day to make sure my body gets all of the nutrients that it does need. And one more thing that I'm doing, because I'll share a few others, but one more thing I'm doing is I've added 30 milligrams of zinc to my already supplement plan as it is. So in your daily nutritional support shake, you're getting every vitamin you need, literally every vitamin you need, but now I'm adding additional zinc. And I will do that through February. All right. So I'm going to do that through the flu season, right through February. And I do a hair tissue mineral analysis. I invite you to do the same lab that will let you know how your zinc levels are. It's just a fantastic test. I really believe the hair tissue mineral analysis, one of the least expensive tests you can do, but you can test for heavy metals. Okay. So you can test for things like all of these heavy metals that we're talking about with flu vaccinations and with mercury amalgams in the mouth and aluminum and all the things in the environment and tap water. So you can actually test that with the hair tissue mineral analysis. It's fantastic. And what I also recommend is that if you get the flu or you feel a cold or a virus or a sinus-based issue coming on, is to just use something like the adult immune protocol. And for your children, again, I'm doing the same thing for my children. I'm using the children's immune protocol for them. So those are two things I highly recommend. Well, what are they? Well, when you start to get sick or run down, that's when you can pull out the game changers. Those are the herbal-based things such as oregano, such as echinacea, such as maybe something like grapefruit seed extract. All the things that we know that are natural, antiviral, antibacterial, plus extra vitamin C. So if you're getting sick, well, then that's the time to double your vitamin C, really increase that vitamin C. And of course, eating lightly, doing your smoothies, doing things to really flush the system, doing a sauna if you can, an Epsom salt bath and hot water, that would be great. And then, of course, other things that I talked about before, which is doing things like ginger tea. Amazing, 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 amazing. And then also adding in fire cider or fire tonic that I've spoken about in the past. And again, just type in, anytime you want more information, go to stephencabral.com/podcast. It's all free information. In the search box, go to fire cider, literally type that in, or fire tonic. And you'll get the different formulas for that. You can make it on your own at home, or you can do what I do because I'm a little lazy. Instead of making all those things, I typically will just buy a bottle. So it's easy, and that's what I prefer to do because, again, just like you, I have very limited time, and I want things easy for me. So that's it. And so, those are my main things. And that is what allows me to come in contact with literally hundreds of people on a, let's say, well, obviously we all do, I guess, just being outside, but in my practice on a weekly basis. And then with traveling, I'm on an airplane. How do I stay healthy on an airplane? How do I stay healthy when being at a conference and meeting? Literally, there might be 1,000 people there and I'm speaking and I'm shaking hands and people are coughing in my face, all of those different things. And it's just, and again, I'm not saying that I'm superhuman. I get sick without a doubt. I mean, my two girls come home from school and they get all of the different germs and pathogens from their classroom. The other kids have as well. And then my girls get sick because their immune systems are still developing. And so they're creating antibodies to this new thing. And that sickness is actually a healing-based process. I'll explain more of what that means in the future. And then I might get it from them. And that's okay, because if I get sick, I get sick. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. That's what I want people to know. Like, you can get a cold. It's no big deal. The big deal is when you don't recover within like 3 to 5 days. Okay, so that's the big deal. So what I do is I say, okay, no big deal to get sick. But once I get sick, I'm going to right away pull out all the stops. I'm going to get more sleep. I'm going to try to rest a little bit more if I can. I'm not going to go crazy with my workouts. I'm going to do the adult immune protocol. I'm going to make sure that I'm upping my vitamin C, getting that zinc that I'm talking about. And that's it. So really, I don't want you to be afraid of getting sick, okay? I used to be terrified that I would relapse again, and my body was very weak. It was. I mean, it was. My body was very, very weak. But I've gotten to the point where it's much stronger, all right? I don't abuse that, but it's much stronger now. So if I get a cold, I no longer worry that it's going to take me a month to get better and then I'm going to get massive sinus infections and all that, because I have my neti pot, I have my nasal spray, I have my ear, nose, and throat formula. The ear, nose, and throat formula is another phenomenal one. We use products by Nutribiotic. They're such a great company. Again, I don't own any of that company. I love good nutritional-based supplements that are functional medicine-based, that are proven by science to work. And I want you to use the same thing that I use in my family. That's really it. Okay, so moving on from that, you have my flu vaccination education, not telling you what to do, but educating you. Then I have the natural flu or immunity-based things to do right now. I'm upping my vitamin C, my vitamin D, my greens drinks, my zinc, my all that good stuff. Staying really hydrated, doing my ginger tea, trying to do that after dinner as well. And then again, like just saying that if I get sick, I'm going to boost it, even to a greater degree with things like the Virusid, the wellness formula that we have. Again, you can just view them online. Okay, one other thing that I wanted to tell you about before I get to my super nutrient of the week, my superhero micronutrient, is that our new vitamin D formula, it's liquid vitamin D. Why am I telling you about this today? Because it's the simplest way to get the vitamin D you need at the least expensive price. So vitamin D, we know, is one of the most popular products out there, and that's because even in the summertime, we have a great vitamin D lab test. Remember, all of our lab tests aren't ours. We just literally recommend other companies. I'll link up everything in the show notes today, okay? So you can get your vitamin D tested if you have not tested it this winter. So really important to do if you haven't. If not, you're just simply going to supplement, since most people need about 35 IUs per pound of body weight. And that's the Vitamin D Council, and other people recommend that. And I agree with it. Again, I'm based in a clinical-based practice, which means that I get to lab test so many people every single month, and I get to see this data. And again, even in the summertime, if you're not getting a tan, a lot of times your vitamin D levels aren't high enough. And even if you are, it might only be a couple days a week. So we really do need to get a tan. And if we can't get that, then we're not properly using our vitamin D. I've done entire podcasts on the one, it's called The One Supplement You Need to Be Using in the Winter, and that was on vitamin D. So definitely check out that show as well. It's just so vital to your health. So what I wanted to do was just say, okay, how can I get the best vitamin D possible? And how can I get it at the least expensive price? Well, I manufactured it. That's the best way for me to do it. Why? Because I knew I was going to be using it. I knew I was going to be using it a lot in my practice, and I wanted to share it with you and our community. We're actually giving it away free this month. So as I'm talking about it, you don't even have to purchase it. It's literally free this month with any qualifying purchase at stephencabral.com/store. So you can check that out. But here's the thing. Why? Okay, even if you don't get it from us. Well, this is a 1-year supply. We are literally giving away a 1-year supply. So you never have to worry about buying vitamin D again for the year. What we did was we created a highly absorbable form of vitamin D. How does that work? Well, it's regular vitamin D3 like you would get with any supplement. Like, that's not a secret, okay? Good quality functional medicine-based vitamin D3 you can get through Pure encapsulation, you can get through Thorne, you can get through Ortho, you can get it through a bunch of great companies. But here's the deal. What we did was we had it bound to a fat, a medium chain triglycerides, the same things that you would get from coconut. That's literally it. And that it then allows you to better uptake the vitamin D, so it's a higher potency, which means you should actually absorb it better and be able to use it at a cellular-based level, which is the most important thing. Again, so it helps with the immune system, anti-cancer, with everything from building up muscle to regulating hormones. I mean, it's obviously an amazing vitamin that almost acts more like a hormone. So that is the big thing with vitamin D. That's our new, really, I like to always just call them like gifts. That's our gift this month. And I just believe that it's what people need. And they need it right now. They need it this winter. So that's why I'm doing it, of course, in January. Hopefully you're enjoying it. It's just so easy to use. You can literally drop it in your smoothie. I put just, you can literally put 2 drops under your tongue. That's all you need for 4,000 IUs a day. Again, it's more than a 1-year supply. You can put in your smoothie, you can put in your greens drink. That's what I do. Daily fruit and vegetable blend, or my daily nutritional support. Super simple. My wife uses it. I use it in my practice. Now, let's move on from that. Again, let us know if there's any questions on that. But let's call it the super nutrient of the week. Last week, I hope you tuned into that, where we talked about choline. So choline, right? So amazing for the brain, for aging health of the brain, right? Really, really important for the neurotransmitters, for energy, right? For focus, all of those things, nervous system, mood. Check out last week's show, last week's Friday review if you did not. This week's is on vitamin K. And the reason it's on vitamin K is because we've gotten so many questions on vitamin K, which is also why I talked about vitamin D today. There's always a method to the madness. And that's because people are asking, don't I need to take vitamin K if I'm taking vitamin D? And the answer is yes. But it does not have to be in that supplement, because that makes the supplement more expensive. So here's the deal. Let's talk about why you need vitamin K, and then an easy way to get it through food as well as nutritional supplements. Okay, why is vitamin K my super nutrient of the week? Okay, the reason it is because it literally helps with over a dozen different mechanisms that work with anti-aging, with work on anti-cancer, blood sugar regulation. I want to go through those right now, but also just to let you know that vitamin K has been around for quite some time, not quite 100 years. Oh, of course, vitamin K has been around forever, right? But that's a funny thing about our science is we just discovered vitamin K in 1935-ish, so right around there, about not quite 100 years ago. So that's the interesting thing. We always think that we're so advanced, but vitamin K has been around forever. We just haven't known about it, just like cholesterol or any of these things as well. So why is vitamin K so important? Well, originally, the K actually came from coagulation. So the vitamin K came from what it does, or what most people know about it, and that's coagulating the blood, or that's, essentially allowing it to clot properly. But it does so much more than that. So what I like to share with people is a few of the facts behind vitamin K, because maybe you've heard about it, but you don't know all the amazing things that it does for the body. Okay, so to share some of these things, I just want to give you some of the highlights. By including at least 100% of the RDA, and I'll get into that in a moment, of vitamin K into your diet, it decreased all-cause mortality by 26%. Amazing. So all-cause of death went down by 26% for those people with the highest levels of vitamin K, normal high levels. We'll talk about that in a moment. Of cancer, 46% risk reduction. 46% risk reduction for cancer by including vitamin K at 100% of the RDA. Now, here's the interesting thing. People always talk about why, supplements don't matter. Supplements don't work. It's completely insane because people are not getting as much as they need to reduce all-cause mortality, to reduce cancer. Advanced prostate cancer went down 63% reduction by supplementing with vitamin K2 or by getting K2 through their diet. Death from cancer went down 28%. Coronary artery calcification, hardening of the arteries. That's what that means. Hardening of the arteries that could lead to all sorts of different heart-based risks. It went down by 20% with vitamin K. Coronary heart disease, CHD went down by 21%. Let's see what else. Metabolic syndrome, all right? High triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all of these things went down anywhere from 27% to 82% for those with high blood sugar. Now, type 2 diabetes, 7% decreased risk. With vitamin K2, K1 supplementation, went down 17% as long as you're getting 100 micrograms a day. Type 2 diabetes decreased by 51% when the group was taking vitamin K versus a group with no vitamin K intake. Very interesting, right? So we've got massive reductions of all-cause mortality, chances of death, reduction of cancer, reduction of any type of cardiovascular-based issue, reduction of metabolic syndrome, which is essentially weight gain, blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, all of those issues along with inflammation, right? We'll talk about inflammation in a moment, and type 2 diabetes. So, this is just so important to look at, and that's because vitamin K, besides activating certain proteins in the body called glutamic acid to help, really work on blood clotting and all the different proteins, which again is very important, but what's overlooked is how vitamin K also works with what's called a matrix of proteins to help prevent things like atherosclerosis, which is those hardening of the arteries. Easy for me to say, right? And it does that through a few different ways. I want to share exactly why. Well, one is it keeps the calcium from actually binding in the arteries or building up in the arteries, okay? And it does that in two ways. So one, it helps modulate cytokines, which is inflammation in the body. So it actually helps to lower inflammation. The second thing it does is it helps to transport the calcium out of those arteries and not allow it to be also, not allow vitamin D and other factors to actually make your body more calcium retentive, which means actually drawing it from the bones. So vitamin K helps to keep the calcium in the bones and helps to transport it and move it out of the arteries. That's why it's so important that we do get it in our diet. So how do we get it from our diet? Let's go back. How much do we need per day? Okay, so although there's never an agreement on exactly how much we do need, what we want to do is we want most people to shoot for, and this is what I look at in my practice, and again, I've done all the research, I look at the research, and I say to myself, how much is really needed? Well, here's what's needed. 80 micrograms a day is needed in order to meet your 100% vitamin K needs for the day. Okay. That gives you then all of these amazing benefits that we just spoke about before about cancer, all-cause mortality, blood sugar-based issues, heart-based issues as well, okay? Now, most functional medicine doctors are looking at the research and saying, yes, 80 micrograms a day is great. How do we get that up to 180 micrograms? How do we at least double that? Okay, so here's what I do. My philosophy is always food first, okay? Of course, I'm big on nutritional supplements, right? Because I see it change people's lives. So if you see it change people's lives because I know that their digestion isn't always strong enough or they're not eating the best diet, I know that we need to do that. But food is always first, all right? Whole food is always first. So what I like to do is just give you 100% of the RDA. It's all you really need anyways in the first place. And then I want to add at least 100 micrograms a day, and we can easily do that through our nutrition. That's how I always do it. I combine the best of whole food nutrition and the best of functional medicine nutrition. That is how you keep people healthy. That's how you help them get well, and that's how you help them age better. So in something like our daily nutritional support powder or our daily activated multi, you're going to be getting at least the 80 micrograms a day. It's all you need. That's all you need. Yes, you can supplement with more, but more is not always better. Yes, you can get more. I'm not saying that you can't. However, when you're taking your vitamin D3, you don't need to add extra vitamin K because it's in something like your daily nutritional support shake. Okay. That is a product that obviously, that's what I swear by in my practice. That's what we use. And then I also have it in the daily activated multi. So you can get it either way. So if you're taking a multivitamin, you don't have to worry about taking vitamin D3 without the vitamin K because you're getting it from your multi and you have to use a multi, right? You can't just take individual vitamins. All the science shows when you start to load up on individual vitamins, besides things like vitamin E, vitamin C, there's always caveats, that they don't work as well. So vitamin D3 needs all of its other cofactors. It needs magnesium, right? It needs the calcium. It needs the vitamin K. We know that, but just take something like the Daily Nutritional Support Shake or take the Daily Activated Multi, or if you're working with a functional medicine doctor right now, a health practitioner, use what they recommend, okay? I'm just giving you what I do in my practice. You're always welcome to recommend what you feel is best for your health and your family's health. Okay, so, and again, I'm giving adult-based dosages, all right? So what am I saying besides that? Now, get the rest of the vitamin K you need throughout the day through whole food, all right? Here's how we do that. Here's the foods that are highest in vitamin K that's going to get you even more vitamin K for the day. Basil, an incredible herb, very, very high in vitamin K. You can cook with it. You can do all sorts of things with basil. Now, dark green lettuce leaves like kale and spinach are phenomenal for vitamin K. Cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, spices like chili and cayenne and paprika, asparagus, cucumbers, olive oil, blueberries, pears, prunes, right? These sound like a lot of things I recommend in the daily nutritional plan, right? In our nutrition plans on the Dr. Cabral Detox with the Candida Bacterial Overgrowth Protocol. Remember, if you're getting these things a couple cups a day, you're set. You're good. Like that's the whole thing. You're going to get all the nutrients you hopefully need through nutrition, and then we're going to back up what might be left out for the day with some just good overall, but not very high multivitamin, daily activated multi, or the daily nutritional support shake. Remember, you don't need a mega dose for your overall multi. What you need to do, though, is get it through good food nutrition, and then make sure you're making up for your things that might have been left out just through a good quality functional medicine nutritional supplement. That's it. So it's very simple. And again, I don't worry about it because I'm using my daily fruit and vegetable blend every day too, and that's the greens powder. So I look at it as like I have a bunch of fail-safes in place, meaning I'm trying to get it for my greens, I'm trying to get it for my shake, and I'm trying to eat good whole food. But let's say I'm traveling for the day, my nutrition's not the best, I couldn't get as many veggies as I want, I'm taken care of. All I want you to know is that you can do very simple things in your life to stay healthy, to decrease things like all-cause mortality, all-cause of death by anywhere between 26%, 36%, just by getting things like extra vitamin K. And that's why it's my super nutrient of the week. I hope this makes sense. I want to keep things always simple for you. And I'll tell you why. Because I want to keep it simple for myself. I really do. And for my parents. And they don't want to do a million things to do too, right? So I just say, hey, drink this, do this. They're going to take care of all your basic nutritional needs. Try to eat a whole food diet. Try to get, good quality nutrition from mostly plant-based nutrition. Things like your spinach and your broccoli, your cauliflower, your cayenne, your Brussels sprouts, your asparagus, your cucumbers. You can even juice them if you want. You can get all this great nutrition. Olive oil, I'll talk about all the benefits of olive oil. Blueberries, I put those in my shake pretty much every single day. So again, this is easy stuff to do. I know that you can replicate it. If you do that, you're going to start to see yourself get healthier one day at a time. And when you look back 12 months from now, you're going to say, how did this happen? How do I have more energy? How do I feel more vibrant? How do I feel more focused? It happens by giving your body the nutrients that it needs. Hopefully this show was helpful. I'll try to link up everything in the show notes today. So simply go to stephencabral.com/707. Everything will be right there. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate each and every one of your listens. Check back in tomorrow. We're going to be doing our host calls every weekend where we answer our community's questions. Thank you. Please feel free, as always, to share this show with anyone you believe it could help. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.